Welcome. I'm Tom Rossini, the Director of Enrollment and Outreach. Um, so nice to see people's faces. I'm usually in this office by myself, and even though it's via Zoom, it's just wonderful to see people. We've had a chance to catch up with some alums and some of our current students preparing for tonight's event. And again, it just gets us so excited to be here tonight with you all. So I'm actually going to skip the portion I was going to do beginning, just because I really want to get you to Mr. Michaels and to the students and faculty on the panel. But what I do need to do quickly is some housekeeping. I'm sharing my screen right now. This is an open house. You guys are already part of the family, so it's okay for you to see all my tabs. But I did want to remind you that all the 8th grade families, you should have received the upper school guide in the mail over Thanksgiving break. As I mentioned in the email that went out yesterday, 7th grade families, we provided you the link to the electronic document, which is here. And I can show you. So again, this guide is super comprehensive, more so than what we're going to cover tonight. Again, the idea tonight is to hear from real people, students that have been through the program completely, they're in college, and those who are in the experiencing it now. And most importantly, probably the perspective that will help you guys is the students that went through our middle school and then transitioned to our upper school. I think that obviously is a big part of what tonight's about. But I did, before we got started, wanted to show you, for those of you that have been too busy, or maybe you didn't get it in the mail yet either, this printed piece is, again, covers it all the different programs, the distinctive programming that's different. There, you'll see as throughout this evening and from reading this guide that there's quite a few opportunities in the upper school that are different from the middle school, as it should be. And one of the big pieces that you'll go over tonight too is the schedule. So you don't have to memorize everything tonight. It's here for you. It's been sent in the mail, and we also provided it for you electronically. I'm going to actually turn things over to Brian Michaels, the upper school division head, and he'll sort of get us started and do an overview of the program in the upper school before we get to the panel. But I'm sorry for rushing. I just want to make sure you get to the students in the panel. So thank you again for coming tonight, and I'll be back at the end to help tie things together.
Yeah, Tom, thanks. Again, my name is Brian Michaels. I've been at Key for 15 years now. I was really excited before we let everybody in. There were a bunch of alums who are on the panel tonight. It was great to see their faces and check in with some of them. So I'm excited to hear from you all tonight. Thank you, alums, for coming. We also have a number of faculty and current students who can share their perspectives about the upper school program. Let's see. So one other thing I wanted to share is that I've seen the upper school as a parent too. My oldest daughter, Dana, is now a sophomore, and she, was I was in your shoes a couple of years ago as she was thinking about high school and thinking about our upper school. And it's just been wonderful to see her thrive in the program, even with the pandemic going on, and just all the engagement she has and what she's enjoying about being in high school, because it's so different. That's one of the big things I hope you hear tonight, is there's such difference between the high school environment and the middle school environment, and what is offered differently. I also have a younger daughter, Laura, who's in the 7th grade, and I see that we have some 7th grade parents here tonight too. So I'm thinking about that too with my parent hat on. Before I get into talking a little bit more about the program, and I'm just going to be about 10 minutes, because like Tom, I want to get to the panel and I want you to hear from our students and alums and faculty. It's been since March that we've pivoted and been in a different type of environment. And I'm just really, really thankful and grateful and proud of all the work our students and our faculty and our families have done to make it work. And kids are really highly engaged, and while the program's tough, still enjoying a lot of elements of it. There isn't everything that they're used to, like athletics and the outdoor program, but we still maintain advisories and discussion in class, and even labs in science when we can pull them off, et cetera. So I just want to thank them for all the work. And hopefully by the time you are coming into our upper school, we can get this behind us and be back to normal a little bit. So I want to talk about a couple things about our academic program, and that's our disciplines. So first is our civilizations program, which everyone calls Civ. It's kind of like an extension of the global studies program in that it's a humanities focus that draws English and history together. But the level of the type of content, the level of discussion skills, the type of writing, all is enhanced. And it's really a challenging but good program that really gets kids ready for college. And something we've done recently, we've changed the 10th grade program from European Civ to a modern Civ course. So we've really started to broaden the voices and perspectives that are shown through the Civ program and the readings that kids do. And that's one step towards our work along the lines of inclusivity. The next discipline I want to speak about a little bit is math. And I know we have Ms. Bowman here and other math teachers to share later on. But the math program is really strong. I know there are stereotypes about Key's program being heavily humanities based, but we have a really great STEM program in our math and sciences. And just recently, in the last couple of years, we added a second year of college calculus class called Calc 2-3. That is, I hope you see us kind of pushing the boundaries of really high level math in our program. So that class is after advanced calc, which gets you ready for the AP test. But Ms. Bowman and others will share more about our math program. Another thing that we've done in the last 3 or 4 years is we've really revamped our science curriculum. We've gone from a very traditional siloed physics, chemistry, and biology program that are in separate years to a really integrated and applied science program. And just graduated our first set of kids last year who had been through that whole program. So it's neat to see them going to really top tier schools. We don't get questions about what kind of science we do. We're really doing science in the way that scientists do it, because those silos of physics, chem, and bio are really very arbitrary. The Nobel Prize, as an example, the Nobel Prizes that you see are biochemistry or biophysics or some aspect of muted by mistake, but hopefully you can hear me. But that science program is now a way for students to learn in the way that scientists really do science and apply and combine those disciplines. So everybody still gets the core content throughout the first 3 years of high school of physics, chem, and bio that prepare them for advanced classes to take the APs and also some electives after that. I want to talk a little bit too about languages. We have 4 languages in the upper school as opposed to just 2 in the middle school. We offer, for those of you who taken French or your children are taking French, it goes all the way up to a post AP level class called French Film and Literature. It's almost like French 6, I think. We have some alums here who took it, so they can correct me later. But we also have Spanish, Latin, and recently we have our 3rd year that students can take of Arabic. So there's a really broad language program. I guess in addition to the disciplines we offer, I think some of the structures we have in place in the upper school are very different than in the middle school. Our schedule is one example. We actually, a couple of years ago, we really rethought the schedule and wanted it to match and better reflect the student learning that was going on. So we changed it in a big way to have 4 blocks a day and to increase the amount of time that students can be with teachers in office hours type settings and getting extra help. We also kind of doubled down on our activities program, so we have more time for students to do those co-curriculars and extracurriculars that I know will show up in the conversation tonight. I think in any school, one of the big currencies is time. So we really wanted to rethink our schedule to allow students and faculty the time to have the type of deep program that we have. I guess another highlight are the electives that we have in each discipline. So we have a math modeling and computer science elective that you can take as you get older in the math program. I teach an oceanography class, which I love. That's the science that I studied in graduate school and that brought me into schools in the first place. So really enjoy teaching the oceanography class, and I actually have it tomorrow morning. So I got to get ready for it. Also have, I mentioned the French film and lit class as an upper level language elective, and also a bunch of humanities electives, one of them being an economics class. So there's a real wide range of those upper level application classes that students can take. I think something else that maybe some of our alums are engaged in is our independent study program for seniors. So seniors, once they really find something they're passionate about in their senior year, they can develop a full semester-long class where they partner with just one teacher around a topic and content area of their choice. And I know we have some faculty on tonight's call and in our panel who can share some of the experiences they've had with students on that. I think some memorable ones in recent years, we had a student who really dug deeply on one decision by the Supreme Court years ago and really deconstructing the arguments within that decision. It was fascinating. And there have been a number of engineering related projects and STEM related projects too, and those are great opportunities. And I guess the last thing I'll share about structure are the supports that are offered. So we have something we call labs, which are great opportunities to get extra help. It's sort of like tutoring within the school, but not paid for extra by parents. And it's led by certain faculty within each department. And we have times where students can come into lab and get any extra help that they want. And it's really used highly by students. And then also our advisory program. So one thing that's kind of neat, even during the pandemic, is that we've maintained advisories, which are small groups of students across 9th through 12th grade who are together kind of learning, kind of checking in on social things, checking in on strategies for doing well in school and also having some fun. A lot of food involved in that traditionally. And those are 9th through 12th grade groups. So it becomes a lot of mentoring by older students. And then as younger students get older, they become the mentors. So that gets passed down through the advisory. So those are some of the structural supports that are different than what you'd see in middle school and that really help students as they work through our 4-year program. So I think, the main part of this evening, as Tom said, is that we get to our panels where they can be answering some questions. Students can talk about their experience they're having now. Alums can talk about how their experience prepped them for college, and also faculty can share the work that they're doing. So I guess the last thing I want to say, and I'll turn it over to Makiba, is that Dave Magnus and I work really closely together on the transition for students between middle and upper school. We want to help in any way that we can. We're always available, so you can reach out to us at any time. And I really hope tonight is valuable for you in terms of learning about the school. And I'm really excited to hear everyone speak about the elements of the program. For me, it's always a really affirming night of some of the work that we do as a school that we're really proud of. So I think I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to stay on tonight to help answer any questions, and I'm going to turn it back to Makiba.
All right, thank you, Brian. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It is so hard to believe that some of the 7th and 8th graders I met as 1st or 2nd graders when they applied to Key School as lower school applicants. So here we are. It's amazing to me. So I'm Makiba Barnes. I'm the upper school admission counselor. So I work with not only lower school applicants, but also upper school applicants. And I also am the liaison between the 8th graders and the upper school when you all are looking to explore the upper school as an option for high school. So this will be the first of a few other events that Mr. Rossini and I will organize and execute for you to explore the upper school. So we've carved out about 30 minutes for a panel discussion. We have invited some of our current students, some of our Key School grads are with us, and of course, faculty and staff members. So I'm going to ask each of the members of the panel to introduce themselves, and you'll see there are several faculty members in the gallery. Not all of them will be participating in the panel unless they feel compelled to jump in, but I'm going to have 3 of them introduce themselves because they will have 3 of them are going to be in the breakout sessions. The others will participate now. So I'm going to start with the Lee Zanger, Brian Boyd, and Jen Bowman. Are they on the panel or in the breakout rooms?
Sorry, Tom.
Breakout room for me.
Breakout rooms, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah,
All
but they're here and they can, they don't need to introduce themselves here because they can do it in the breakout, but they're here to answer questions. I mean, everyone here
Right.
can jump in.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with Mr. Liskey. Derek, will you introduce yourself, please? Just who you are, what you teach, and how long you've been at Key School?
Sure, yeah. My name is Derek Liskey. I have been at Key. This is my 23rd year. I've all that time in the upper school teaching math and science. Now I teach just science. I teach mainly the ninth grade core integrated class. And then I teach upper level physics, and then depending on the elective year, sometimes an astronomy class.
All right, Alexis.
My name is Alexis Martin. I am the Assistant Athletic Director and Athletic Trainer. This is my 13th year at Key School. I think 13. It's 13 or 14. I mostly work with our middle school and upper school athletes, so I know a lot of you already.
Jen.
Hi, I'm Jen Bowman. This is, my 15th year at Key, and I teach math. I also teach in the math lab that Brian mentioned as our support resource.
Great, thank you. Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick Olson. This is also my 15th year at Key. So, faculty class of 0607 represent. I'm the director of the theater program for both middle and upper school, and happy to answer any questions you have.
Perfect. Dylan.
Hi, I'm Dylan Lewis. This is my 10th year at Key. So I teach math. I teach one course in the middle school and 3 courses in the upper school. And I also coach soccer. I've been the soccer coach for 9 years now.
Perfect. Lee.
Hi, I'm Lee. I'm the head of the upper school science department. It's my 11th year here. I teach the advanced chemistry course. And with Derek and a few others, we helped design the integrated program that Brian mentioned.
Perfect. Brian Boyd, sorry.
That's fine. My name is Brian Boyd. This is my 20th year at Key. I am the athletic director for both the middle and upper school, and I also teach in the humanities department. I teach the 9th grade ancient civilization course.
Perfect. So Jennifer Moore is here as a parent, but she is the director of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Jennifer, you don't bother. You don't have to introduce yourself, but you're right there on my screen. So hi. All right. Switching over, we have, I saw her, Laura Baxter Burrell Baxter.
It's okay. It's too complicated to say all those names. I'm Laura, and I'm the director of college advising. So I work mostly with juniors and seniors throughout the college process, but really as early as 9th grade as part of the Changing Lives curriculum to kind of plant the seeds of what's to come in choosing a college.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we're going to switch over to our students, and then I'll have the alum introduce themselves quickly. So students, introduce yourself, your name, your grade, how long you've been at Key, and just one favorite aspect of the school. And I'll start with Brianna.
I'm Brianna. I'm a junior. I've been going here since 1st grade, so it's my 11th year. And I guess my favorite class would be French.
Perfect. And then I'm going to go back to Andrew Nolan, who I skipped. Andrew.
I'm Andrew. Sorry, am I supposed to say my sports that I play?
You can, if that's what you like.
Okay.
To hear.
I was thinking, I lost it. I play lacrosse, run, swim. I've been at Key since 8th grade, and probably one of my favorite things about Key is the discussions that we have.
Thank you.
I'm in 10th grade now.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Andrew. Chenna.
Hello, my name is Uchenna. I'm an 11th grader this year. I came to Key School in 9th grade, and my favorite subject is math.
Thank you, Chenna. Okay, Liz/Lizzie/Elizabeth.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Armstrong. I'm currently a senior here at Key, and I've been here since pre-K 4, so quite a while. And some of the activities I'm involved in are basketball, field hockey, and one of my favorite classes was an elective, Japan in the West.
All right, and we can talk a little bit about that as an elective a little later on. Grayson.
Hi, I'm Grayson Grigsby. I'm currently a junior, and I've been here since 4th grade. I play soccer and basketball. My favorite class has probably been logic and debate.
Thank you. And Jaden?
Hello, I'm Jaden Clark. I came to Key 9th grade, so I'm in 11th grade now. Some activities that I do, I play basketball, I play soccer. My favorite thing about Key, my favorite subject would probably be math or civ. My favorite thing about Key is probably the ability to communicate with teachers easily. So, yeah.
All right, thank you, Jaden. Kayla Pack.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kayla Pack. I'm a junior, and I've been here since 7th grade. So not as long as some, but, right in the middle. My favorite class is actually a class that I'm taking this year. It's an elective. It's psychology. And I guess my favorite part of Key is the advisory, how it spans with all different grades.
All right, thank you, Kayla. And then Kayla Stevenson.
Hi, I'm Kayla Stevenson. I came to Key in 9th grade, and I'm currently a junior. My favorite thing about Key would probably be the science department. I like science, and this year I was lucky enough to be able to double up on science and take the integrated science and physics.
Oh, wow.
And so my favorite class would definitely be science.
Perfect. Thank you, Kayla. Reed.
Hi, I'm Reed. I'm in 10th grade currently. I came to Key in the middle of 7th grade. I play soccer, basketball, and lacrosse, and I think that my favorite thing about Key is probably the Civ program.
Perfect. Thank you. And then the last two, Sam and then Zoe. Sam.
Hello, I'm Sam. I'm currently a junior, and I came here in 8th grade. So I'm a great person to ask about that transition, especially if you're new. My favorite thing about Key is definitely the Model Congress activity. I think that a lot of really cool things and lessons have come from that, and I'm lucky enough to be the president of it.
Perfect. Thank you. And finally, Zoe.
Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm a junior at Key, and I've been here quite a while, since pre-K 4. I run cross country for Key, and one of my favorite courses that I've taken is physics.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Zoe. Okay, so those were a lot of introductions, and of course, we'll give you a quiz afterwards and ask you who was here since 8th grade. Just kidding. So I'm going to pivot over to questions to the faculty and staff first, and then students. Oh, I'm sorry, alum. Alum. Can you just quickly introduce yourselves? So we have Grace Gallant.
Hi, I'm Grace. I graduated last year with the class of 2020. I was at Key throughout my whole life, and now I'm a freshman at Dartmouth.
Wonderful. Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia. I graduated from Key in 2017, and I go to Kenyon, where I am a captain of the lacrosse team.
Perfect. And Cam?
Hey, I'm Cam. I graduated with Mike and Julia in 2017. I am a senior at Brown studying chemistry. I was at Key since pre-K 4.
All right. And then finally, Michael Jackson.
Hi, I'm a senior in college at William & Mary, where I play football, and I graduated in 2017 with Cam and Julia. So.
All right, thank you. And I did not forget you all. I was just excited about asking Boyd the first question. So we're going to pivot on to the questions. I'll ask some of the faculty and staff questions, and then alum and students, please feel free to chime in when you feel appropriate. So we hear a lot about the Civ program in the upper school, Boyd. Can you talk a little bit about how it differs and how it is similar to humanities and global studies in the middle school, and how the kids are definitely prepared to do well and be successful in the upper school?
Absolutely. The Global Studies program does a great job showing students that you know, this kind of separation, this arbitrary separation between literature and history is in fact that, an arbitrary separation, that to understand a civilization, you really, you need to look at these things together. And so we build on that. In the 9th grade, we study ancient civilizations by looking at the literature, the history, the moral philosophy, the religion, all of this at once to try to get a good sense of how these things work together to create an understanding, a more complete understanding of the civilization. But I think the more important jump in the 9th grade is the focus on the ideas of the students. In 9th grade, it's way less about truly understanding everything that Confucius had to say, and more about taking your understanding of what you believe Confucius is saying and seeing how that connects to your own understanding of the world, and trying to ask questions that will help shape our own worldviews. And we do that by talking every day and sharing ideas and building upon those ideas. It's awesome. You guys are all going to love it, and you're going to come prepared. But I'm happy to talk much more about that later, but others should also speak.
Okay. Question to Michael Jackson. I always like to say Michael Jackson. To Michael, as a double major in government and English, how did English 12 or the CIV program in general prepare you or even spark your interest in majoring in English in college?
Well, it prepared me like immensely. I came in writing a lot better than any of my classmates. Like my freshman year, there was no problem transitioning with that, and just being able to get into the material, like being able to like read a lot, like especially with government, like law readings that I've gotten into are like hundreds of pages over a span of a couple of days. So I was really prepared with that.
Good. And Grace, I understand you recently handed in a paper and you got a really good grade on it. You were a little nervous about it, but I think your mom thinks you can attribute it all to Key School.
Yeah. Yeah, I took like a first year writing class as a seminar, and it was just, as Michael said, it was like a really easy transition from Key because I felt really prepared. It was definitely my easiest class was writing.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to add anything about CIV and the program in 9th, 10th, or 11th grade? And Lizzie, as a senior, anything about English 12 that you could give advice to the 7th and 8th graders?
Yeah, so throughout the program, as they said before, there was the CIV program, but then I've reached English 12. And so this year, I think we're covering around 11 or 12 books. And the way that the course is set up is very, very, very interesting. And I love all of the books that were chosen because in English 12, there's 3 different routes you could go. You could go with, or like there's different topics that the teachers teach. Is War and Peace as a class, Exiles this year as a class, and Unreliable Narrators, and I'm in War and Peace. And I'm not too big a fan of talking about war, but a lot of these books are showing me sides of different battles or history that I was never exposed to before. And it was all done through literature, which I'm really appreciating. And I'm excited to keep going through the course.
All right, thank you, Lizzie. Okay, I'm going to move over to Jen Bowman as one of the head of the math department. Can you talk a little bit about math department and Key School in the upper school, what the pathway could be to some of the advanced courses that you teach and how the kids are supported throughout those years through labs and other supports we have in place?
Sure. So, so most of you, right, in 7th and 8th grade, you will have taken what we would call a pre-algebra or an algebra course. I know that we call that, Math 7. But in the upper school, you will enter typically either Algebra 1 or geometry. And that's a conversation that you'll have with your teachers in the spring on what you want, what you feel is best for you, and what your goals are. And you'll have that conversation every year with your math teachers. What are your goals? Are there some areas that you want to grow in? And, then your teachers will help you do that. So we have, like Brian said, Algebra 1 all the way up through a Calculus 2-3 course. And we've got some electives. We have a statistics course that you can take also anytime after you take Algebra 2. So we do have our standard, Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and then the world kind of opens up to you depending on your interest. So that's always going to be conversations you have with your teachers, with your advisor, with your peers, about what you can do in math, what you want to do in math. And the doors are always open, and we are here to help you and engage in whatever questions you have.
Thank
How about that math team? I always like to ask you about that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we have math team for those that are interested. We typically participate in the Anne Arundel Community College hosts the county math competitions. And we've done in the past few years very well. And the Silver Cup still resides down in Catherine Hall, which is, we finished just a quarter point out of first place in 2019. And the season was ended shortly last year. But we've moved online, and a number of the faces that you see here in the students are participating in Math Madness this year. We have about 15 to 20 students that participate every week. Great.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Lee, I'm going to ask you a question. I've also directed this parent to join the STEM breakout room, but she had a question about the difference between AP biology and advanced biology, taking the AP exam, and if they're through the integrated science program, if they're ready for advanced courses.
Okay, so we actually don't offer AP courses specifically. We have advanced chemistry, advanced biology, and physics. However, if you are interested in taking the AP exam, those courses will prepare you for that, but we're simply not bound by the College Board curriculum. We design our own curriculum and what we believe is a really rich and robust course. And in terms of being prepared, we think that the integrated science course actually makes our kids better prepared, because as you get into those advanced courses, the overlap between all of these disciplines becomes increasingly evident. I mean, advanced biology is a tremendous amount of chemistry, and our students have already had some experience with that because they've looked at biology through a chemistry lens, chemistry through a physics lens, and you can do all the rest of those combinations.
Okay, and so Julia and Cam, you both are majoring in the sciences. Can you talk a little bit? And you all did, I guess, the last 2 years, your sophomore and junior year of integrated science. Can you talk a little bit about, no? None at all? So Julia, you can jump in, and then Cam, talk about how you were prepared for your science courses in college.
Yeah, so the advanced biology course that I took at Key really covered all of the material that I needed for my mandatory biology course that I had to take my first year of college. And I actually ended up I am a biology major now, but I think the way that Key School really lets you learn at your own pace was one of the things that helped me the most. Being able to see my teachers after class, they were really accessible, and I got a lot of practice with exams and stuff. So.
Perfect, thank you. And Cam, you want to chime in?
Yeah, so I took AP Physics and Chemistry. Those both really helped me with college. Actually, AP Physics was kind of almost the same thing as my intro physics class. I ended up TAing it later because I felt like I already knew it, and I learned it twice. The good thing about Key is you can, like Julia said, talk to professors whenever you want to. You have a report there already, and it's a lot easier to do that then, and kind of learn to advocate for yourself, which is really important in college and just later on in life.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to add in? I want to pivot over to the 8 students in the upper school who joined Key School later in their middle school year. So if you came in 7th or 8th grade like Sam and Kayla, and talk a little bit about the transition into Key School. You know, the 8th, 7th, and 8th grades obviously are already here, but transitioning over into the upper school, what were some of your assumptions that may have been incorrect, or you thought things were going to happen differently and they turned out to be just slightly better?
I can start if that's all right. So I think for me, I think that the 8th grade did a pretty good job of preparing me. I think a lot of like the subjects, especially in humanities, kind of moved us into Civ really well. Like it was already pushing me in that direction about primary sources, literature, like especially the analysis of literature. I remember we read Elie Wiesel's Night. And the way it was very Civ-like, the way we talked about that book. So I was prepared for Civ because of that. But I think the most important thing is that I was really scared of the workload, because you always hear like, oh, well, when you hit high school, it gets really difficult. The workload is, very intense. And, for some of my years, more so than others, there was a lot of work. However, the thing that Key does, especially Key High School, it gives you all the resources you need to complete that work, and they give you plenty of time, and they give you plenty of people to talk to, right? You have your advisor, you have your advisories, right? The people in your advisory, you have the labs, you have all these different resources that make that workload, while it is very intense, it's very manageable. So that's definitely something that I appreciate, and something that I was actually really excited to see.
All right, Zoe, any thoughts? I'm sorry, Kayla, any thoughts?
No, you're good. Yeah, I would have to agree with Sam on that. I think the other thing that I was a little bit concerned about was like socially, because I guess like going in, even though I'm an extrovert, it was like kind of weird because in middle school, you're very like you're divided by grade. And so there's not a lot as much opportunity to sort of branch out socially. But once you're in high school, the good thing about it is that pretty much everything like sports, advisory, kind of forces that like integration between grades, and it allows you to make friends. Once you're a part of the high school, you're just part of the high school. You're not just like a freshman or a junior. And I think that's something that I really value, because you can learn from older students as mentors, and you can make friends with younger students, and it's just a really good time, I think. But yeah, I agree. The work is not always easy, but it's a good kind of challenging. And he also teaches you self-advocacy. So you're always like going to your teachers, and they're more than happy to help you. It's just the people that need to learn how to ask, which I think is a really valuable tool in life.
Okay, so both of you mentioned advisory, which 7th and 8th graders actually do have advisory in the middle school, but it is very different from what they would experience in the upper school. Mr. Lewis, as an advisor, can you talk a little bit about the advisory program and how it supports the students and the fun aspects of it as well, the social aspects of it as well?
Sure. So we meet as an advisory about once a week. That's our goal. And it's been a little bit different in recent times, of course. But during that advisory, we have discussions amongst the students. So there's, as has been mentioned, there's 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th and 12th graders in that advisory. And so there's a lot of sharing, especially from the seniors and juniors to help the underclassmen. But also there's activities that are part of the advisory, and sometimes those are fun activities. I know that Nick Olson, who's on this call, organizes the cornhole tournament each year, so that's a big hit. So advisories get together and play different things, but also talk about serious issues also. And as Brian mentioned to begin the meeting, there's food involved. Normally, maybe not more recently, but normally there's some food involved. So it's about a half hour of joining together and supporting each other.
All right, thank you. Any students or alum want to talk about the benefits of advisory, multi-grade, anything like that?
I just wanted to say that advisory has like really helped me over the years, especially learning from the older students. Like looking back, some of my favorite memories are like when my friend was helping me program a new tool onto my calculator that I needed for one of my classes and couldn't figure out how to do. And that was just a really good moment for me. And I maintained a connection with her like all through high school, and she was one of my best friends. And also, I love how we bond over food. I know we talked about food being involved a lot, but usually what we'll do is we'll bring in a snack, and then while we're kind of eating that, we can help each other out with problems on the board, or it's just a really quiet space to do homework. But that has been like just a safe space and a happy place for me throughout high school.
Okay, thank you, Zoe. Okay, in just a minute, I'm going to have Mr. Rossini share the schedule so that you all can see. I know you all, the 7th and 8th graders, you're in a 1 hour block. We move actually to 85 minutes in the upper school. So Mr. Rossini, do you want to share the schedule? And in that schedule, he's going to talk a little bit about some of the unique aspects, office hours, X block, and things of that nature. And then we do have a question in the chat. So I'll pose that question after you share the screen.
Yeah, I don't need to jump in for that long. I didn't want to just throw this up while Dylan and Zoe were talking, but I think it is helpful to see that there's office hours built in. So while those longer periods sound long, especially for middle schoolers, you're thinking about an 85-minute period. Teachers are typically taking breaks in the middle of the class, letting kids get up, move around, use the restroom, things like that. But the way it's structured throughout the day, there are breaks throughout these great chunks. And again, this is straight from that upper school guide that you have. Those office hours are a great opportunity. You heard a lot of the students talking about access to the faculty. So, you know, if your teacher has a free period or a planning period, I should say, there's no such thing as free periods as teachers. If they have a planning period, that may not be the same period that you have a free period, but there are these other times in the day to catch up. So that's really all. I wanted to just show this, the 10-day schedule, encourage you guys to check it out, and then ask me, Mrs. Barnes, Mr. Michaels, you can schedule time with us anytime this year. We can go over this in more detail, but that was it. I just wanted to remind people about office hours and other opportunities like that.
Tom, if I could just jump in super quick, and maybe students can speak to this. One of the unintended consequences of the change in our schedule was actually that the longer blocks created a 2-day sort of time frame before homework was due for the next class. So something that happened is the students ended up having homework assigned on one night, and it wasn't due until you had 2 nights before it was due, before the next class came around. And I think that's been a really nice change of pace for students to slow down. And the length of the block, teachers are breaking those up in different ways, but they also allow for some deeper learning, like a longer lab or a deeper discussion. But that homework spacing and separation was something that helped with our overall pace of school.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, the question in the chat box, and I'll pose this to our Key School grads. For those who ended up in larger colleges, larger student bodies, larger campuses in general, how was the transition leaving from such a small school as Key? And anyone can jump in, or I'll call Julia. All right.
Kenyon is actually quite small, so I'm not sure if I can accurately answer this. The campus is really, really big, so lots of walking. That's fabulous.
Cameron?
What's up? Nothing. Anyway, yeah, Brown's not massive. It's medium sized. I really like it. I like meeting new people, seeing new faces. But also I'm used to like having people around me that I can talk to all the time. I had that at Key. I had that more at Brown as well. And I think it took a couple of weeks, but like I don't think there was as much of a shock as you'd think there would be if you just have the mindset of just meeting people wherever you are and having new experiences whenever you can.
Okay.
Can I just jump in real quick, although I'm not representing a big college because I went to a small one. I just had College Park talk to our juniors yesterday, 2 alums who are at College Park, and they both talked about how great it was to go to a place where they could finally kind of explore, broaden their horizons, their friend group. And frankly, what they loved the most about it is they felt like compared to all their hallmates, they actually had all the skills to talk to adults and ask for help and meet their faculty. So that's what Key gave them, but then they had the confidence to do it when they got there.
Great.
Yeah, I can actually add on to that. I do have introductory classes with upwards of 60 kids in them. And I think that one thing that Key has given me is the ability to speak up for myself, whether it's in class, asking questions in front of so many other people, or even just getting up and going down to introduce myself to the professors after our first class. So I'm very comfortable with asking for help when I need it.
Good. I've heard that a lot from our alums, so that's a common thread. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Rossini, who's going to explain to you how you'll get into your breakout rooms. We have 5 breakout rooms, all different topics to discuss, and we'll have some of our our students, as well as, of course, the faculty and staff in those break rooms. So I'll hand it over to Mr. Rossini.